Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world with me, Deepika, coming up in the next 30 minutes. United States carries out its first land strike in Venezuela, announces President Trump. Saudi-led coalition strikes Yemeni port over unauthorized weapons shipment. Saudi issues national security warning. Yemen declares state of emergency. Prime Minister Narendra Modi condoles the demise of Bangladesh's former Prime Minister Khalida Zia's death, hails her contribution in boosting ties between both the nations. India's Hindustan Aeronautics Limited's next-generation civil helicopter Thruv NG takes to skies for the first time, highlighting country's rise as the world's third-largest domestic aviation market. Good evening to all the viewers joining us at this evening broadcast. To begin with the US. US President Donald Trump on Tuesday announced that the United States carried out its first land strike in Venezuela. Talking to the media, Trump said that the US forces hit a dock facility that used to load boats allegedly carrying drugs in Venezuela.
There was a major explosion in the dock area where they load the boats up with drugs. They load the boats up with drugs, so we hit all the boats, and now we hit the area. It's the implementation area. That's where they implement, and that is no longer around.
Well, this was the first U.S. operations on Venezuelan soil since the Trump administration launched an aggressive campaign against drug trafficking networks. Until now, U.S. strikes had focused on boats in international waters in the Caribbean Sea and the Eastern Pacific Ocean. Now, the U.S. military also carried out a strike on a boat suspected of drug trafficking in international waters in the Eastern Pacific Ocean on Monday. U.S. Southern Command said the Joint Task Force Southern Spear conducted a lethal kinetic strike on the vessel, killing 2 men. The military also said that no U.S. personnel were injured during the operation. Since September, the U.S. military has carried out at least 30 strikes on what it says are boats used to smuggle drugs to the United States, with the majority of the attacks occurring in the Eastern Pacific and some in the Caribbean Sea. Well, Russia has accused Kyiv of firing drones at Vladimir Putin's residence between Moscow and St. Petersburg, announcing it would revise its negotiating position on ending the conflict. In an audio statement, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said Ukraine fired 91 drones at Putin's official residence in the Novgorod region overnight, adding that all of them were destroyed by air defenses. U.S. President Donald Trump said on Monday that Russian President Vladimir Putin told him a swarm of Ukrainian drones had allegedly targeted one of his residences. However, Kyiv denied the claim. Speaking to the reporters ahead of a meeting with Netanyahu, Trump said the Russian leader raised the issue during a phone call earlier in the day.
I heard about it this morning. You know who told me about it? President Putin told me about it. Early in the morning, he said he was attacked. It's no good. It's no good. Don't forget, the Tomahawks. I stopped the Tomahawks. I didn't want that. Because we're talking about, it's a delicate period of time. This is not the right time. It's one thing to be offensive, because they were offensive. It's another thing to attack his house. It's not the right time to do any of that, and can't do it. And I learned about it from President Putin today.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has expressed his concern over the alleged drone strike on the residence of Russian President. In a post on X, Prime Minister Modi said he was deeply concerned by reports of the targeting of the residence of the President of the Russian Federation. He said ongoing diplomatic efforts remain the most viable way to end hostilities and achieve peace, urging all the sides to avoid actions that could undermine those efforts. Former Prime Minister and Bangladesh Nationalist Party chairperson Khaleda Zia passed away early on Tuesday while undergoing treatment at Evercare Hospital in Dhaka. She was 80 years old. The party's media cell said Khaleda Zia died while receiving medical care at the private hospital where she had been admitted due to serious health complications. Khaleda Zia, a two-time Prime Minister, was one of the most prominent figures in Bangladesh's politics for decades and served as the BNP chairperson for many years as well. Remembering former Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Khaleda Zia, Prime Minister Narendra Modi shared pictures on X. He wrote, and I quote him here, "Deeply saddened to learn about the passing away of former Prime Minister and BNP chairperson Begum Khaleda Zia in Dhaka. Our sincerest condolences to her family and all the people of Bangladesh. May the Almighty grant her family the fortitude to bear this tragic loss. As the first women Prime Minister of Bangladesh, her important contributions towards the development of Bangladesh as well as India-Bangladesh relations will always be remembered. I recall my warm meeting with her in Dhaka in 2015. We hope that her vision and legacy will continue to guide our partnership. May her soul rest in peace." Unquote. Bangladesh has declared 3 days of state mourning following the death of former Prime Minister Khaleda Zia, including a one-day general public holiday on Wednesday. Funeral prayers for Khaleda Zia will be held on Wednesday at the South Plaza of the Jatiya Sangsad Complex and Manik Mia Avenue in Dhaka, after which she will be laid to rest beside her husband, former President Ziaur Rahman. Earlier, the Advisory Council passed a condolence resolution and observed a minute's silence as political leaders and organizations across Bangladesh paid tribute to her long political career and role in the country's democratic movements. Moving on, now let's get you an update on Saudi-Yemen tensions. Saudi Arabia declared a separatist advance in Yemen as a threat to Riyadh's national security on Tuesday and called Abu Dhabi's actions highly dangerous as the conflict boiled over into an open dispute between the Gulf powers. The strongly worded Foreign Ministry statement came after the Saudi-led coalition fighting in Yemen said it had struck a weapons shipment destined for separatist forces. Riyadh also backed a demand from Yemen's Presidential Council for Emirati forces to withdraw from the country within 24 hours and urged Abu Dhabi to cut off military and financial support for Yemeni troops. The leader of Yemen's Presidential Council that sits atop that government also declared a state of emergency and cancelled a security pact with Abu Dhabi after the forces of Southern Transitional Councils seized swathes of territory. Earlier, the Saudi-led coalition said it targeted a large quantity of weapons and combat vehicles sent by the UAE for the secessionist forces. The coalition struck 2 ships carrying a large quantity of weapons and combat vehicles to support the Southern Transitional Council force. The transformation to electric mobility has been gaining steam around the world, but in some countries it's not going as fast as initially thought, including in Germany, where some of the world's most famous brands have struggled with the new direction. Now there's news from Volkswagen. Lars Holter is with Deutsche Welle and joins me from Berlin. Good evening, Lars. What can you tell us about this?
Thanks for having me. Yes, indeed, Volkswagen is out with some news leading up to what's a lot more important. Volkswagen will be out with their latest electric car in just a few weeks, and it's supposed to be a really big deal. They already introduced it at the last car show in Munich and published the name. And then we're talking about the ID Polo. And Polo is, of course, one of the company's smallest offerings and also one of its most popular. Now, the ID Polo is Volkswagen's big project project in making e-mobility more affordable and getting more cars on the street. The idea, the car is set to retail at 25,000 euros. And upwards, of course, if you want a stronger engine and if you'd like it fully loaded with all the extra features. 25,000 euros is a very attractive price point. The problem now, when the car comes out, or let's say once customers can put in orders in April, the 25,000 euro option will actually not be on the table at all. Turns out, if you want that car early, you will have to go with a stronger and even more expensive version of it.
Now, also sounds like this could be disappointing to the customers as well. What's behind the delay?
Apparently, there are problems with the availability of the battery needed for those cars. So the stronger version of the ID Polo, the one with a better battery and the longer range, the one the company will get from its own new battery plant in Salzgitter, that is actually very close to the company headquarters in Wolfsburg. But the smaller battery for the cheaper car, for the entry model, that won't be made in-house, but it will come from a supplier and it won't be ready on time, apparently. Now, Volkswagen says the delay should only be a few weeks. However, there are rumors among the car dealers that have heard that it could easily be more than half a year until the cheapest version of the ID Polo will actually make it into the showrooms and to customers.
Also, tell us, how big a deal is that for Volkswagen? Is this a real problem?
It is. Now, of course, it is completely normal that when new cars are launched, that not all models will be necessarily available right away. But Volkswagen has gone all in on selling this on affordability. They made the 25,000 euro car their branding. It's all about making electric mobility cheaper. So the price point here is key to the entire endeavor. And then not to be able to deliver at that promised price point, that, of course, is a huge disappointment. Also, even though the EU has recently taken back the sales ban for combustion engine cars that had been originally planned for 2035, the car makers still have to abide by certain goals, certain percentages of electric vehicles sold. And if they don't get more customers to switch from combustion to electric, they will be subject to fees. So this could well have financial repercussions for Volkswagen if they can't get the cheaper cars available very quickly.
All right. Thank you so much, Lars, for joining us and getting us the latest on this. Time to take a short break, but still to come on the other side. Prime Minister Narendra Modi holds pre-budget consultations with leading economists and sectoral experts. India's indigenous digital payment platform, PM app, is all set to celebrate its 9th anniversary this month. More after the break. And in sports, dominant Team India eyes a 5-0 clean sweep as they face Sri Lanka in the 5th and final T20 International today.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back after that short break. You're watching DD India Live. Prime Minister Narendra Modi held a pre-budget consultation with leading economists and sectoral experts on Tuesday as preparations for the Union Budget 2026-27 gain momentum. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman and senior Niti Aayog officials, including Vice Chairman Suman Beri and CEO PVR Subramaniam, were also present. The discussions focused on assessing the current economic situation and seeking expert inputs to address emerging challenges ahead of finalizing key fiscal decisions. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Tuesday highlighted a series of path-breaking reforms across multiple sectors, saying they have added momentum to India's growth journey and strengthened efforts to build a developed nation. In a post on X and LinkedIn, Prime Minister underscored reforms spanning labour laws, trade agreements, logistics, energy and markets, noting that India's growth is anchored by credibility, stability and long-term confidence. Prime Minister's office also shared an article on Reform Express 2025, reflecting on the steady, cumulative governance efforts that have helped clear bottlenecks over time. Moving on, India's Civil Aviation Minister Ram Mohan Naidu Kinchirappu inaugurated Advanced Light Helicopter Next Generation, also known as THRUF NG. The Advanced Light Helicopter Next Generation THRUF is the civil variant of the indigenous helicopter that was also showcased by HAL in 2025 Aero India show. This event marks a significant milestone for Hindustan Aeronautics Limited as it expands into the civil aviation sector. The THRUF NG is a civil variant of ALH Mark III powered by Shakti engines and features a civil certified glass cockpit. It has a maximum cruise speed of 250 km per hour, a large fuel tank, and can be used for various purposes including heli-tourism, VIP travel, offshore operations, medical services and rescue.
The most anticipated moment for today in this event was us seeing that THRUF NG flying in the skies. That was the most anticipated moment. And for it to be successfully done, I think marks a very, very important milestone in the Indian aviation history. I commend each and every member of HAL family here today for advancing India's Atmanirbhar Bharat beyond defense into civil aviation.
Let's take a look at some of the key features of Advanced Light Helicopter. Well, the Advanced Light Helicopter Next Generation or NG, also known as THRUF NG, is an advanced version of the existing THRUF helicopter platform. It marks Hindustan Aeronautics Limited's entry into the civil aviation sector and also reflects its broader efforts to promote indigenous aviation technology. The helicopter is the civil variant of ALH Mark III, which is currently in service with the Indian Armed Forces. Powered by Shakti engines, the LH-NG features a civil certified glass cockpit offering enhanced safety and operational efficiency. It has a maximum cruise speed of 200 km per hour and can accommodate 9 to 14 passengers, making it suitable for a wide range of civilian applications. The Advanced Light Helicopter Next Generation is also well suited for a variety of critical civilian roles. It can provide emergency medical services in remote or congested areas. The helicopter is also capable of offshore operations, offering reliable support to oil and gas rigs. Now, its performance enables high-altitude search and rescue missions as well as disaster relief operations in challenging terrains. Additionally, the ALH-NG will play a key role in enhancing connectivity to underserved and remote regions, supporting regional air connectivity initiatives such as the UDAN scheme. Secretary to India's Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, Sanjay Jaju, visited Gujarat International Finance Tech City, popularly known as the Gift City, on Tuesday to review its infrastructure and facilities. Envisioned as a flagship project of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Gift City is India's first operational smart city and its only international financial services centre. During the visit, he also assessed key facilities including a utility tunnel, command and control centre, automated waste collection system and a district cooling network. Now, India's indigenous digital payment platform, PM app, is all set to celebrate its 9th anniversary this month. Launched on December the 30th in the year 2016 by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, PM aims to promote financial inclusion and make India a digitally empowered society. PM is a UPI-based app that enables simple, quick and secure transactions. working seamlessly with all UPI-enabled banks and apps, and with payments occurring directly bank to bank. The app also offers a range of features including sending money via UPI ID, account number or through a QR code. Now, request money from linked accounts or mobile numbers is also available. Scan and pay through the QR codes. You can also view the transaction history and tools to track transactions and report issues, if any. The users can also manage multiple bank accounts, check balances, share the QR codes as well. Now, Bhim supports 20 languages including Hindi, English, Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, Bengali and more. And it also provides enhanced privacy and security, including options to block spam users and manage secondary UPI IDs. Now, since its launch, Bhim has evolved through multiple versions. Bhim 1.0 in 2016 allowed transactions of up to 20,000 Indian rupees per day. Bhim 2.0 in 2019 introduced an intuitive interface and simplified payment process. And Bhim 3.0 in 2025 added 20 language support, tools for tracking and splitting expenses, and optimization for low internet connectivity as well. Well, the app has seen widespread adoption with over 278.5 million Android downloads, 9.57 million iOS downloads, and is live on 524 banks with total transactions reaching 20,026 crore rupees. The year 2025 tested nations with disasters internationally and nationally. From earthquakes in the neighborhood to floods across Indian states, emergencies struck without warning. Yet, amid the devastation, India's relief and rescue operations stood out swift, coordinated and compassionate, reflecting a nation ready to respond when humanity calls.
In 2025, India stepped up its international humanitarian response with speed, scale, and strategic reach. On March 28, a 7.7 magnitude earthquake struck Myanmar, killing over 1,600 people. India launched Operation Brahma, deploying relief teams and medical support. The mission continued till April 9, with thousands treated and lives saved, reflecting India's commitment to regional humanitarian leadership. In June, escalating tensions in West Asia left thousands of Indian nationals stranded in conflict zones. India launched Operation Sindhu, using special flights and land routes to evacuate over 4,400 Indians safely. Once again, citizen safety remained at the core of India's overseas crisis response. In September, a major earthquake struck Afghanistan's Kunar province. Between September 1st and 25th, the disaster claimed over 2,200 lives. India responded with truckloads of food, water purifiers, and medical supplies routed through Chabahar to Kabul. The aid reaffirmed India's development-focused and people-centric engagement even amid complex geopolitics. Towards the end of the year, Cyclone Ditwa struck Sri Lanka. India launched Operation Sagar Bandhu, sending over 1,050 metric tons of relief material, evacuating more than 450 people and treating over 3,300 patients. Alongside overseas missions, emergencies with India called for rapid, large-scale domestic rescue operations. India's domestic response was put to the test early in the year. On January 7, a coal mine collapse in Dima Hasao district on the Assam-Meghalaya border trapped workers underground. the Indian Army's Eastern Command launched an intensive rescue operation under challenging conditions. In June, an Air India aircraft crash in Ahmedabad demanded immediate support. Of the 242 people on board, all but one lost their lives. The Indian Army deployed engineers, medical teams, firefighting assets, and quick action teams. With the onset of monsoon, floods and landslides affected Himachal Pradesh and the northeast. Operation Jal Rahat saw army columns move day and night from submerged villages in Assam and Manipur to landslide-hit districts of Himachal. Relief supplies, evacuations, and medical aid ensured that no village was left behind in rising waters. By mid-August, floods and landslides battered northern India, displacing over 1 million people. The Indian Army conducted 82 relief missions, evacuating more than 6,000 people, while the Indian Air Force rescued 541. Across borders and within the country, 2025 reflected India's sustained relief response, from rapid rescue to large-scale humanitarian support. When disaster strikes, India stands ready. Deepika Yadav for DD India.
On to sports updates. India will look forward to continue their domination and complete a 5-0 series whitewash against Sri Lanka in the 5th and final Women's T20 International. India have been clinical all through the series, restricting Sri Lanka to totals under 130 and getting home with at least 5 overs and 7 wickets in hand. Sri Lanka have had tough time going past the duo of Smriti Mandhana and Shafali Verma, who helped set up the hosts' highest T20I total. The 5-match series has formed a significant part of India's preparation for T20 World Cup in England in June and July next year. India have opted for a more aggressive style of playing, a shift that has yielded to series victory this year. Following Tuesday's game, India will play a 3 T20 international each in Australia and England before the showpiece event. And that's all for this edition of DD India Live. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Deepika, and from all of us here in New Delhi, thank you so much for watching DD India Live. Namaskar.